Do you know who invented one of the earliest calendars and time devices in the world? Advanced Inventions of Ancient Egypt, Part 1 of 2. Continue watching to find out more.
Vegan, the true embodiment of Taoism.
Elegant viewers, in the Republic of Ingushetia, you may hear salam, which is hello in English, an official language of the Republic of Ingushetia. I'm Murat. The sweet people of Ingushetia pray that peace always blossoms in your heart and overflows in abundance, touching all who come near you. Welcome to our program, Advanced Inventions of Ancient Egypt, Part 1 of 2. Egypt is a transcontinental country that connects Africa and Asia with a land bridge formed by the Sinai Peninsula, bordered by the Gulf of Aqaba and the Red Sea to the east, Sudan to the south, Libya to the west, and the states of Palestine and Israel to the northeast. Since the time of the pharaohs, around 3150 BC, Egypt has played a key role in linking Northeast Africa with the Middle East. According to the latest statistics from February 2022, Egypt has a population of over 105 million people. Arabic is the official language of Egypt, and Cairo, the historic capital city, founded in the year 969, is one of the largest cities on the planet. The longest river in the world, the Nile, flows north-south through Egypt, and millennia-old monuments stand along the Nile River Valley, including the colossal Pyramids of Giza and the Great Sphinx. Egypt has one of the longest histories in the world, tracing its civilization and cultural heritage along the Nile Delta back at least as far as 6000 BC. Many hypotheses exist for why ancient Egypt had such an advanced civilization so early. Some even alluded that there were influences from the highly developed aliens. In her book, Keepers of the Garden, the famous psychic researcher Ms. Dolores Cannon disclosed that the spire of the Great Pyramid was used as a transmitter or receiver of energy between planets. Scientists have found a small feminine-looking statue on Mars, which is similar to an ancient Egyptian woman warrior. So far, scientists have been unable to prove whether these Egyptians and other people from ancient civilizations were communicating with alien civilizations or beings from another more civilized planet like Mars, or whether they invented their technology themselves. But with recent archaeological discoveries, we are closer to learning the truth about ancient Egypt. Today we will journey through ancient Egyptian inventions in astronomy, timekeeping, architecture, and shipbuilding. Ancient Egyptians clearly felt a close connection with the universe, and Egyptian astronomy traces back to earlier than 5000 BC, when celestial alignments appear to have inspired the astronomical side at Nabta Playa. Astronomy in ancient times was mostly used to predict planetary shifts that affected natural phenomena, such as how the moon affects the tides, which were used to make predictions to help develop agriculture planning and avoid or prepare for floods, droughts, or famines. Around 3000 BC, circular mud brick walls were built to mark the position of the sun as it rose at dawn. A plumb bob was then used to mark the northern or southern turning points, identifying the summer and winter solstices each year, which led to this establishment of the 365-day calendar. The lunar calendar, which follows the moon, was developed by observing the moon and the star Sirius' reappearance after a 70-day absence in its heliacal rising, which meant the annual flooding and drought of the Nile River could be forecasted. This knowledge was used to invent the world's earliest known irrigation system. Based on these astronomical measurements, the Egyptian pyramids were carefully aligned to Thuban, the ancient North Star, and the Temple of Amun-Re at Karnak was aligned to the rising of the midwinter sun. Religious festivals and hours of night were marked by astronomical observations as well. Later in history, Ptolemy became one of the most prominent astronomers in ancient Egypt, and his work Almagest greatly influenced Western astronomy. The earliest known traces of sundials were also discovered in Egypt and date to around 3500 BC. While a surviving limestone sundial showing greater complexity and design dates back to 1500 BC and was discovered in the Valley of the Kings in 2013. A sundial found on His Majesty Seti I's cenotaph describes how the hours of the day were kept track of, with 10 hours of daytime, 1 hour for the dawn, 1 hour for dusk, and 12 hours for the night. Shadow clocks, an upgraded version of sundials providing greater precision in daytime, were first used around 1500 BC in Egypt. They incorporated a major innovation that provided a more precise gnomon, dividing nighttime into 50 parts. The shadow clock was positioned eastward in the morning and westward in the afternoon to measure shadows cast by the sun. The design was later adapted with markers around the obelisk to indicate units of time. From 600 BC, Egyptians started to use merkids, which used plumb lines to establish the north-south meridians to calculate the time at night. Two merkids were aligned with the star Polaris, also known as the North Star, to create a north-south meridian. When certain stars crossed the north-south meridian line, the time could be determined.
Definitely, I would recommend to any friend and to any person to learn about becoming a true vegan person with a mind frame of keeping your body healthy. The Reverend Pastor Louis Diego Clare, vegan.
Cheerful viewers, we'll now pause for a moment to hear a brief message. We'll return shortly. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to our program. The study of astronomy developed into an ancient polytheistic Egyptian religion that lasted for almost 3,500 years of prehistory, with gods being named after stars such as the sun god Ra and sky goddess Nut. Prehistorical Egyptian architecture was deeply influenced by this religion. An astronomical ceiling in the burial chamber of His Majesty Ramses VI shows the sun god Ra being born from Nut in the morning, traveling around Nut during the daytime, and being swallowed up at night. The architecture of the temple complexes built during the 5th dynasty by His Majesty Nisarini at Abu Ghurab and His Majesty Userkaf at Abu Sir shows careful consideration of astronomical alignments. Some roofs were designed to be multifunctional, including being used for astronomical observations in order to predict dates of religious festivals. Many massive Egyptian monuments, which were dedicated to deities or pharaohs, demonstrated a high level of ingenuity and engineering prowess, and many of these ancient wonders are still standing today. The wise pharaohs were the rulers of ancient Egypt, and they used sophisticated technology to build some of the largest buildings ever conceived of, even to this day. According to historical evidence, the ancient Egyptians invented many simple building tools, such as scaffolds, ramps, and a lever, and used them to help construct the pyramids as far back as 4,500 years ago. Sophisticated rock-cutting techniques were used to produce the many colossal statues, and copper saws and hollow reed drills were used to excavate temple rooms in rocks, such as the temples and tombs built by the pharaoh Her Majesty Hatshepsut and the rock-cut tomb of the pharaoh His Majesty Tutankhamun in the Valley of the Kings. Simple but effective surveying tools such as a plumb bob, a cubit rod for short measurements, and a calibrated rope for 100 cubits for longer distances were used in field measurement. These effective construction methods made it possible to build Aten, the largest ancient city, which was established around 3,000 years ago. Aten was completely excavated in 2020 and is known as the Lost Golden City of Luxor. Through their great building projects, ancient Egyptians developed systems to manage the logistics of the labor force and production lines, such as workers' food and clothing supplies. Ancient Egyptian maritime technology used in ships and lighthouses played an important role in the Mediterranean. An Egyptian pharaoh's solar boat, dating back to around 4,500 years ago, possesses the most advanced shipbuilding technologies in ancient Egypt. Instead of using nails, mortises were used to join the solar boat's wooden planks together, and it is still the largest and oldest known wooden object in the world. Also known as the Great Boat of King Khufu, the solar boat was described as a masterpiece of woodcraft that could sail today if put into water. However, it would appear the vessel was not designed for sailing, as it had no rigging or space for oars. According to some interpretations, it might have been used as a water crane when building the pyramids, or designed for a pharaoh to sail across the skies after death. Other ingenious technologies and inventions of ancient Egypt were man-made canals used to transport heavy building materials, the world's first geological and topographical map drawn in 1160 BC, the famous lighthouse of Alexandria, designed by Sostratus of Cnidus and built in the 3rd century BC, and a giant cantilever hoist used to lift cargo onto and off ships, similar to how shipping containers are loaded and unloaded today. Based on their prolific innovations in shipbuilding and navigation, ancient Egypt became the first country in the world to possess a navy. Many early Egyptian inventions and technological advances demonstrate a high level of wisdom within their ancient civilization, which has formed the basis of many technologies still used to this day. What an amazing journey of discovery of ancient Egyptian inventions! We thank the ancient Egyptians for their wise use of knowledge that has contributed so much to the comforts and technology we enjoy today. Today, we will continue this journey with a look at ancient Egyptian inventions in the fields of handcrafts, metallurgy, medicine, music, and postal systems. and also share some of the ingenious ways they managed their large, complex society. The earliest forms of paper were made from papyrus plants by the ancient Egyptians around 3000 BC. The word paper is derived from the Latin word for papyrus. In ancient Egypt, thick sheets of papyrus paper were joined together to make scrolls from which the first books were developed. Pottery was mass-produced and stone and clay pots were used to cook and store food. These types of cookware were popular and exported throughout the Mediterranean. Glasswork was also developed in ancient Egypt as early as 3250 years ago. Artisans would crush quartz pebbles with ash from burned plants, heat and grind it into a powder, clean it, and then add metal compounds to color it red or blue. Then heat it again in a ceramic container and finally cool the mixture to form glass discs. The earliest door lock, called the pin tumbler lock, was also invented and commonly used in Egypt around 2000 BC. A large wooden bolt secured the door, and a slot with several holes was cut into its upper surface. Sliding wooden pins placed within the lock fell into these holes in the bolt, locking the door. The key was a strip of wood with upright pegs whose arrangement matched the holes and pins, so that when inserted into the keyhole and lifted, the bolt pins were pushed up so the bolt could be removed, and the door opened. Ancient Egyptians were early pioneers in metallurgy and began collecting gold and copper around 4000 BC. With the advancement in mining techniques, bronze and tin tools were being made as early as 3150 BC. Egyptians were also pioneers of weaving, and current research suggests that the Egyptian horizontal loom dates to 4400 BC. The advanced technology that the people of ancient Egypt used to produce handcrafts led to the early flourishing of art and culture. Egyptian puppetry was developed around 2000 BC and is exemplified in modern times by Mr. Mohammed El-Sawi, who established his El Sakia Puppet Theatre in 2004. In 2018, this ancient art form was inscribed on the list of intangible cultural heritage in need of urgent safeguarding. Cosmetics were used by both men and women in ancient Egypt as early as 6000 BC. Eyeshadow, mascara, and eyeliner were used as makeup, while creams, oils, and unguents were used for anti-aging purposes. Wigs were popular among ancient Egyptians for fashion purposes and to make personal hygiene easier. Different styles of wigs were worn on different occasions, such as family gatherings and festivals.
Here, someone destroys life. He is murderous, bloody-handed, given to blows and violence, merciless to living beings. His destination is crooked. His rebirth is crooked. But for one with a crooked destination and rebirth, I say, there is one of two destinations, either the exclusively painful hells or a species of creeping animal. Anguttara Nikaya, Buddhism.
God-loving viewers, we'll now pause for a moment to hear a brief message. We'll return shortly. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Welcome back to our program on the advanced inventions of ancient Egypt. The first known toothpaste and toothbrushes were developed in Egypt around 5000 BC, as dental hygiene was considered very important. Mints were also used daily for fresh-smelling breath. Ember and barley were used to test if a woman had become pregnant, and could even tell whether the fetus was more likely to be a girl or a boy. This method spread to Europe and remained in use for centuries. In the late 20th century, scientists confirmed that the method could accurately determine pregnancy in 70% of cases. Many medical products we use today were invented in ancient Egypt. The oldest known metal surgical tools were discovered in the tomb of Kar, and inscriptions show that suction cups, knives and scalpels, retractors, scales, lances, chisels, and dental tools were all used in medical and dental procedures. Egyptian scientists studied human anatomy in developing the processes of embalming and mummification. Internal and external body parts were given medical names, and doctors recorded their findings and surgical methods on papyrus paper, allowing more effective transfer of knowledge for future research. Other ancient Egyptian medical inventions from around 3000 BC include poultice, splints, adhesive bandages, and prosthetics. Antibiotics from fungi and plant extracts were used to prevent infections from as early as 2700 BC. During this period, Egyptian doctors were very popular, as they could stitch wounds, repair bone fractures, and even amputate badly damaged limbs. During the time of the pharaohs, Egyptians formed a pyramid system for managing their society. Pharaohs stood at the top of the pyramid, where they served as both head of state and religious leader, and were believed to be the divine representative of God on earth. They made laws, collected taxes, and managed the land under their rule. The second level of the pyramid was the vizier, the pharaoh's chief advisor or high priest, who fulfilled various administrative roles such as managing food supply, settling disputes, protecting the pharaoh's household, and approving official documents. The farmers and laborers carried out most of the agricultural work and other manual labor tasks. Egyptians also developed the first income taxation system as early as 3000 BC. Tax was paid in the form of labor or grain, which was stored in the pharaoh's warehouses for times of need, and also used to feed public workers as well as the poor. The earliest known legal system was established in ancient Egypt around 2950 BC, based on truth, justice, and the cosmic order, and where women and men shared equal rights. Pharaohs were expected to maintain order through wise rule, just decisions, and humility before the gods. Equality before the law united the rulers and the common people together and helped maintain harmony in society, which led to a long-lasting period of peace. Professional police were introduced around 2040 BC to protect trading caravans and enforce the law. and around the same time the world's earliest known judicial system with professional judges was established. The oldest postal system in the world was also invented in ancient Egypt around 2000 BC. Letters were placed in boxes and then carried to their destination by guards, mostly along the Nile River. Music was an important part of life for the people of ancient Egypt, and its development influenced the musical traditions of neighboring regions. Egyptian music influenced ancient Greek music and early European music during the Middle Ages. The instruments described in the Bible that were played by the Hebrews were originally Egyptian instruments, as revealed by Egyptian archaeology. Ancient Egyptians invented many different musical instruments and performed various types of music that represented their connections to art and spirituality. The Egyptian sistrum was a sacred percussion instrument, somewhat like a rattle, that was used in dance performances and religious ceremonies, particularly in the worship of the goddess Hathor. Playing it was believed to avert the flooding of the Nile River. The lyre is an ancient plucked string instrument, similar to a harp, but smaller in size. A variation of this is the kinnor, a kind of 10 to 12 string lyre. The oud, a lute-type fretless instrument, was played by ancient Egyptians in the times of the pharaohs and is believed to be the ancestor of the modern lute. The guitarra was a 7-stringed lyre-like instrument that was associated with Apollo, the god of the sun. The zumara is a double clarinet which was invented in Egypt around 4000 BC and is widely used throughout the Islamic world today. The ney is another traditional wind instrument which was invented in ancient Egypt and remains prominent in Middle Eastern music today. The earliest natural trumpet, called the hasosra, was discovered in Egypt in the grave of His Majesty King Tut, dating back to around 1500 BC, and was typically used for religious or military purposes. Ancient Egyptian inventions are an important part of the heritage of humankind. We pray that more wisdom and technology from past civilizations will be discovered in the future, revealing the secrets of life on Earth and beyond. What a wonderful journey of discovery! We appreciate the people of ancient Egypt for their high wisdom that has enabled us to live in a more civilized and comfortable world today.
Vegan, because the benevolent energy will destroy the bad energy and save our world.
Intelligent viewers, thank you for your company during our program today, Advanced Inventions of Ancient Egypt, Part 2 of 2. Coming up next is aromatherapy and the benefits of essential oils. May we soon live in an era of peace, prosperity and abundant health for all in heaven's embrace.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/CTAW.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule et suprememastertv.com/CTAW.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule y suprememastertv.com/CTAW.
ਸਾਡੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਪੇਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ ਅਨੇਕ ਭਾਸ਼ਾਵਾਂ। ਕਿਰਪਾ ਦੇਖੋ suprememastertv.com/schedule ਅਤੇ suprememastertv.com/CTAW